Several days later, a covered carriage arrives to take the group to Rotidido. Kator, Jack, Thok, Tilly, and Lorgar greet Orson Cart, their elderly halfling driver. In the carriage, the group meet his guards, Laura Norda and Millie Tarry, who are human paladins and lesbians. After a few hours of carriage ride, the group arrives in Taladu, a small fishing village on the river. Eager to stretch their legs and escape the incoherent ramblings of their driver, the group splits up to explore the town. There are rumors of a sunken temple nearby, infested with lizard men. Hearing that the townsfolk are safe as long as they avoid the area, the group decides that they can wait until later before going into another temple. Many of them are still weary from their near-death experiences in the Frog Temple. Kator attempts to buy a compact fishing pole, but is given rotten fish as consolidation because such a fancy fishing pole is not available in the small town. Lorgar overhears that if the horse eats carrots, it will fart, and proceeds to feed it a dozen carrots. Tilly complains that they probably could have walked to Taladu in the time it took Orson to get to Four Corners from wherever they sent him. Laura explains that their progress was slowed because Orson's eyesight is not what it used to be, and he nearly drove them into the river several times a day.
Once Orson falls asleep in the driver's seat, the horse takes over and the journey is much safer and faster.
She explains. The group boards the carriage, and they proceed north on the road toward the next town. Partway along the trail, Orson drops one of his shoes while he sleeps in the driver's seat. A few minutes later, several lizard men jump out in front of the carriage, shouting in Draconic. The apparent leader, a shaman, throws the extremely smelly shoe at the carriage. Lorgar interprets this as an attack, and rushes in with his hammer drawn. Jack overheard the Draconic shouting,
"You think to attack us with stink bombs. We will defend our home from your foul magic. The elements are on our side. Take back this filth, leave and never return."
Before Jack can translate to the group, Lorgar has already begun attacking, and the scene descends into the chaos of battle. Kator, Tilly, and Thok jump out of the carriage and begin attacking, and they are immediately swarmed by several lizard men armed with spears, clubs, and swords. Both sides take a few hits, with no casualties, until Lorgar casts a spell against the lizard shaman.
"Skulls for the Skull Throne!"
he shouts, as magical energy flows from his gauntleted fist out towards the shaman's head. The shaman's head explodes from the inside out, splitting his skin like a banana peel and launching fragments of skull and brain in all directions.
"Oh, no skull,"
says Lorgar, visibly disappointed and moping. The rest of the lizard men turn and run into the forest. The group decides to let them go, despite Jack remaining silent and not revealing any of the translation. Lorgar takes the shaman's coin pouch, and gives the staff to Jack. The staff is inscribed in Draconic with the name, Big Dick. Kator attempts to harvest some scales, but goes into a trance with his skinning knife and ends up with an entire suit, minus the face and top of the head. The horse takes the carriage to the side of the road and bites a few chunks of the corpse before proceeding down the trail. A couple hours later, they arrive in Wabiti as dusk begins to fall. Everyone goes to the tavern, and Tilly attempts to purchase some elven wine. After a brief discussion, she bribes the bartender to give her a bottle from his private collection, and also rooms for the entire group to sleep in for the night, in exchange for 1 platinum coin. The bartender also reveals,
"The tailor has been having some trouble with her basement, maybe rats or something bigger. I'm sure she'd appreciate the help if you head over before coming back here to sleep."
Orson gets very drunk on ale and dances on the table, then gets tired and falls down, knocking over some drinks. The group picks him up and tries to talk to him. After several minutes of drunken miscommunication, Orson remembers that he was given some advance payment to be given to the group on the road. He struggles to find it until finally emptying his socks and showing 25 platinum pieces onto the ale-soaked table. Kator takes the platinum and says,
"Perhaps I'll keep the party gold for now. If anyone wants to spend any of it, just ask, and I'll hand it out. We'll keep it separate from each of our personal funds, okay?"
Jack agrees.
"I think I'm pretty much at my limit with all this rope, and we don't want coins jingling in Tilly's pockets when she's sneaking around in the dark. If you want to be our pack mule, go ahead."
Kator smiles and puts the coins in his pack. Jack discreetly steals one of Orson's smelly socks. Then Thok, Tilly, Kator, and Lorgar head over to the tailor's house. Jack stays behind to finish his drink and keep an eye on Orson and the ladies. Nora and Millie try to outdrink each other. Thok approaches the door of the tailor as Kator sneaks around back and looks for hidden entrances. A woman named Taylor answers the door and seems impressed by Thok's physique. She invites him in and he stumbles through explaining that he's more interested in her basement than her bedroom. She seems disappointed, and then hears Lorgar and Tilly walk into her house, followed by Kator. Taylor the tailor frowns and shows the group to a compartment in her kitchen that pulls aside to reveal a steep staircase down into the basement. Kator and Thok go down and see part of a tunnel hidden behind a large stack of boxes. As they move the boxes to the side of the room, Tilly grows impatient and joins them just as they finish moving the boxes and begin walking down the now clear tunnel. Tilly notices some glowing green crystals that seem magical in origin. She tells the others to wait and goes to fetch Jack from the tavern. Jack comes and investigates the crystals, revealing that they are dangerous and linked to some sort of entity. Jack says he is too tired and returns to the tavern to sleep. The others continue a short way into the tunnel when a squid drops from the ceiling and attacks Thok. Hearing the scream, Lorgar runs down the staircase to join the group. Another squid drops near Kator, and the group draw their weapons. Tilly is able to help Thok and Kator detach the squid from Thok's torso. The three chop up the one squid as Lorgar approaches and slams his hammer into the other squid. The single hit splatters the second squid across the floor. The group continue along the tunnel until they come to an open room that has a pile of naked, humanoid, male corpses. There is some movement in the pile of bodies, and a small brain-like creature with 4 limbs jumps out and attacks. Since they were prepared, they kill it before it can land a hit. In the aftermath, they see more movement from the pile of corpses. A very hungover, elderly forest gnome druid named Gus crawls out of the bodies. Kator feeds the gnome a berry and tries to communicate. Gus explains that he doesn't know how he got here, but waking up in a pile of naked people is not uncommon for him.
Normally the naked people are only sleeping though,
he says. Gus follows the group as they explore the rest of the caves hidden underneath Taylor's house. When they find a chest that Tilly can't unlock, Lorgar decides to try to smash the chest using his hammer. Instead of splintering the wood, the chest bleeds as its mouth opens and the mimic attacks in retaliation. Tilly and Thok both come up from behind and slash at the mimic as Kator shoots an arrow into the roof of its mouth. Gus shoots some lightning, charring one side of the creature. Lorgar's hammer gets the final blow as the mimic's flesh spreads out across the floor and the contents of the chest spill from its stomach. Kator gathers hundreds of copper and silver coins, and a few small items that look like they could be sold, as well as a wand with a metal spider molded into the handle. Gus finds a giant frog in an abandoned furnace in the corner of the room, and convinces the frog to be his friend. Then Gus grabs the mimic tongue and feeds it to the giant frog. The frog eats it, looks briefly uneasy, and hops away. They reach a split in the cave, and split up to investigate. Tilly finds one is a dead end. Thok and Kator find another ends with a giant mushroom that bursts a spore cloud when Thok gets close. Thok coughs violently and Kator is fairly sure he is poisoned. He takes a sample of the mushroom and helps Thok back to the junction to be healed by Lorgar. A quick incantation removes all traces of the poison from Thok's system. The group proceeds along the remaining path to a room filled with crystal stalactites hanging from the ceiling. They throw a few rocks at the crystals and proceed once they know it is safe. After a narrow hallway, they find a room with a bugbear, a Nuthik, and several demonic-looking masks on a display table. The bugbear charges at them with an axe, fighting ensues and is climaxed by a magical explosion from a ward on the floor. None of the combatants are caught in the blast, but they hear shattering sounds from behind them. The distraction is enough to allow the group to kill the bugbear. After a few more hits, the Nuthik dies as well. Tilly checks the rest of the room for traps, but there was only one ward. Thok runs to the table and puts on a mask. Lorgar gets to the table just as fast, and begins destroying the other masks by repeatedly slamming his hammer into them on the table. Kator runs up to Thok and says,
Take off the mask. Lorgar is going to try to destroy it. I don't think he can stop himself. Look at what he's doing to the other masks.
Thok refuses to take off the mask, instead silently bringing out his shield and sword and facing off against Lorgar. Kator backs away as the two exchange blows. Thok's shield blocks most of the damage, but his arm begins to bruise under the strength of Lorgar's attacks. Kator attempts to sneak behind Thok, and although Thok sees him, he is not able to do anything to stop Kator because all his effort is needed to protect himself from Lorgar. Kator grabs the mask and throws it onto the ground. Lorgar instantly ignores Thok and smashes the mask, pounding the pieces into dust. A tense moment of silence passes as everyone watches for either Thok or Lorgar are going to attack anyone. Lorgar sheathes his weapon and walks back through the tunnel. Kator hesitantly asks,
Are you okay, Thok? No hard feelings.
Yeah, we're cool,
he says, very casually for someone who was nearly killed by his friend. Tilly takes a quick look around the room, loots the bugbear, and the group determine this is a dead end, so they follow Lorgar back upstairs. Before leaving, Kator cuts the claws off the Nuthik and puts them in his pack. He's never seen one of these before and hopes to find more information about it from someone in a bigger town. On the way, Gus takes one of the crystal stalactites that had fallen but remained intact during the explosion, and brings it with him. Tilly notices that the green crystals on the wall are no longer glowing, and proceeds upstairs. Kator still warns Taylor not to touch them, as they are unsure if the crystals are still dangerous in this form. Taylor thanks them for killing the squids, but denies all knowledge about the naked male corpses and the masks. Thok stays behind to speak with Taylor as the rest of the group leaves. Lorgar heads to the town temple and tells the local priests,
Your Taylor is a demonic heathen. She is sacrificing innocents to evil gods. I recommend you burn down her house immediately and search the ashes to ensure she's killed in the fire.
The rest of the group went back to the tavern and met up with Jack. Jack wakes from his sleep and accuses them of replacing him with a druid.
Calm down, Jack. There's room for more than one caster in our group. Look, I found a wand for you.
Kator says reassuringly as he tosses the spider wand to Jack. Thok notices that Taylor is much less interested in him after the basement trek, and leaves to join his friends at the tavern. By the time he arrives, Gus is snoring loudly and the rest of the group are trying to sleep as far away as possible. In the morning, Kator convinces the bartender to exchange the platinum piece that Tilly had paid him the night before, for 1,000 copper pieces.
It is the same value. Come on, you could never spend a whole platinum piece in a single transaction in this small town. Arguably, I'm doing you a favor here.
Several hours of carriage ride later, the group arrives in a big town called Thophido. The town is larger than any of the group have experienced. The smell and the noise overwhelms them as they wander around for a few hours trying to find shops with fair prices. Gus finds a blacksmith willing to try to carve his crystal stalactite into a gnome-sized weapon, but the process will take overnight. Lorgar casts a spell to give the blacksmith some assistance with the crafting. The group finds a kobold shopkeeper who is skilled in leatherworking, and convinces him to use the lizard man skin to make some new gloves for Kator. Lorgar is suspicious of the kobold, but Kator assures him it is fine.
Not every kobold is evil. Trust me. I've spoken to many of them in the forest. They are people just like us. Some good, some not.
Jack leads the group to a magic shop and trades in the spider wand for a wand of magic missile, then brags about his frost wand for several minutes. Tilly goes to 2 Fletchers before finding a good deal on arrows and spare bowstrings. The group all meet up at the general store and Kator pays out of the party gold for the climbing equipment Tilly wants, the soap that Jack wants, and a map of Thophido plus a cartographer's kit for himself. The shopkeeper gives them directions to the local bank, which offers free coin exchange. When they get to the group, Kator exchanges 900 copper and 900 silver to get 9 platinum and 9 gold. Just as they are about to leave, the teller overhears someone saying Tilly's name.
Excuse me, Tilly. I think I have something here for you. There's a contract here that you can sign for 93 platinum.
Kator attempts to take a vote from the group, but just as people are voting, Tilly grabs the contract and signs with a blood fingerprint. Most of the group hesitantly sign with their own blood fingerprint, but Lorgar refuses.
I'll never flow my blood onto a magical paper.
Only after all but one of the members have signed does the teller reveal.
This is a blood pact. If the entire party does not sign within the hour, your souls are forfeit.
I told you it was magical. She's a heathen.
Lorgar shouts, bringing up his weapon.
Hold on. If you sign it, then we'll keep our souls and everything will be okay.
Jack tries to argue, but Lorgar is unconvinced.
I'd sooner kill you all and die than sign that demon paper,
shouts Lorgar, flexing his muscles. Kator grabs a Nuthic claw from his pack and tries to smear some of its blood on Lorgar's section of the paper, but there is no effect. He then pokes the clerk with the pin and puts her blood onto Lorgar's section of the paper. Still no effect, and now Thok and Jack have unsheathed their weapons. Jack says,
Are we really going to do this? All right, fine.
And casts Hold Person on Lorgar. Unfortunately, Lorgar is unaffected, and he casts his own Hold Person on Jack, locking him in place. Thok charges with his sword and shield, hoping to draw blood and make Lorgar sign by any means necessary. The clerk frantically searches through her papers and mutters some incantations. Lorgar slams Thok to the ground, bashing him again and again. Kator tries to break up the fight, but he is pushed back. Just as Lorgar is about to deal a fatal blow, the clerk shouts,
It is undone. Stop fighting, the contract is destroyed.
Lorgar slams his hammer into the floor beside Thok, the stone cracks slightly.
I was able to talk to the contract holder and have him dispel the magic. Your signatures are null and void.
She explains. Kator grabs her by the scruff of the neck and both Tilly and Kator shout.
Why didn't you explain what it was before handing it over, huh?
The clerk looks around nervously and apologizes. The group pressures her for more information.
How many of these contracts do you have? Where does the gold come from? Who gets the souls if part of a group fails to sign?
There are hundreds, maybe 1,000 contracts. They've been here since the bank was founded over 100 years ago. They are backed by the bank's treasury. I don't know all the details, just that most groups end up dying and signing over all their material wealth to pay back the contract value with interest. I've never seen a group fail to sign. I wasn't told what happens to the souls.
She explains on the verge of tears, clearly not used to physical confrontation. Thok, bleeding in several places, keeps his eyes on Lorgar. Jack, having been held in place for most of the clerk's interrogation, is released as Lorgar leaves the building.
Tilly?
The clerk asks sheepishly.
There's actually another paper here for you. This one from your father.
This one's not magical or trapped, is it?
Tilly asks in an accusatory tone.
No, just a letter. He's given you partial access to his bank account.
Tilly takes the letter and reads it over.
100 gold to be used in towns large enough to have a bank. Refills every 100 days. Only usable by Tilly.
The group heads out as dusk approaches. Earlier in the day, Thok found an inn that they could sleep at, and now they can use Tilly's wealth to pay for it. On their way to the inn, Kator and Thok are stopped in a dark alley by a suspicious-looking man in a trench coat.
Hey, you guys look like you like action and adventure. Ever find yourself in a dangerous situation in need of a quick boost? Maybe I can help with that for a price.
Kator eyes the man suspiciously. The man opens his trench coat to reveal dozens of health potions, which the group immediately recognizes.
Why aren't you in a shop?
Asks Kator.
Hey, I assure you, these potions work perfectly fine.
He says. Kator glances back and forth between Tilly and Thok, looking for some sort of sign.
I didn't ask if the potions work. I'm wondering why you're selling them in a dark alley instead of in a cart or from behind the counter in a shop.
Insists Kator.
Hey, not everyone can afford a cart or a shop. Look, if you don't think they work, I'll prove it.
He claims, and with remarkable speed, he stabs Kator in the thigh and forces the contents of a health potion down Kator's throat. Thok draws his sword. Jack tries to grapple him and says,
Hey, he's just a businessman. His methods are unconventional, but you can't attack a merchant.
Tilly chimes in with,
Jack's right. We don't need to fight here. Just stand down.
After the initial stunned silence, Kator's eyes light up with anger. He takes out a dagger and grabs the man's neck with one hand, using the dagger to make the man drop his weapon.
You stabbed me.
Kator shouts. Suddenly everyone is shouting, but Kator's voice carries above the others.
Give me one good reason why I shouldn't kill you on the spot.
I was just trying to sell potions.
Exclaims the man, his eyes wide with fear.
You're not going to stab anyone ever again. Where did you get these potions? Did you mug some old ladies?
Kator accuses.
No, please believe me. I got them right in this shop. She needs me to sell them on the street because she adds stuff in that the guards don't like.
He blubbers as snot and drool begin to run down his face. Tilly pleads with Kator to release the man, but Kator shouts her down, spins the man around and puts the dagger to his back.
Take us inside, and let the shopkeeper back up your story.
They walk around the corner and into the shop, and the shopkeeper drops what she was doing and asks,
What is going on here?
Is this your employee? Is it part of your regular sales tactic to stab potential buyers?
Kator shouts.
He is. He sells the nutmeg-laced health potions in the back alleys. They're illegal because one of the town guards is allergic to nutmeg. I just wanted them to taste a little better. My name's Esmeralda. Perhaps I can offer you a discount if you were offended by his behavior?
Says the shopkeeper.
Besides, I'm sure adventurers like you are used to getting stabbed, right?
I'm used to getting stabbed and clawed and bitten, but so far, everything that has stabbed me has died within seconds of that happening. I'm offering mercy here. I'm suggesting we take all the health potions and throw this man in jail for the rest of his miserable life.
Kator shouts, his volume a stark contrast to Esmeralda's. The man pisses himself and drops to his knees as Kator releases his grip and relaxes the dagger.
But no, please.
He sobs, before breaking into incomprehensible crying.
Our prices are heavily discounted already, due to the legality issue, but since my employee has upset you so much, I'll offer his entire inventory of potions for an even greater discount.
Esmeralda says, trying to calm the situation.
Kator, we can forgive a few broken laws. They aren't hurting anyone.
Says Tilly, then as Kator glares at her, she adds.
Well, I mean they heal everyone that they hurt.
Kator breathes heavily for a moment, and then relents.
Fine, here's the money from the party gold. Give the potions to whoever wants to hold them. I'm not taking any. I don't want any of your filth in my pack, and if I catch you stabbing people in anything other than self-defense, the next thing you'll see will be my arrows in your eyes.
Esmeralda hands over all the potions from the trench coat and takes the man into a back room to get cleaned up.
Never come back to this shop. You aren't welcome here,
she says.
The feeling is mutual.
Kator retorts as he steps outside. Once everyone is outside, Thok says,
When I was at the inn, I heard a rumor that there are some zombies around town. Now that it's dark, they are likely to be wandering the streets.
Kator's grimace turns to a half smile.
Good. I need something to hunt and kill, to get my mind off of merchants and bankers.
The group unsheathe their weapons and wander down a few streets before seeing a group of 4 zombies. Kator shoots several arrows into one of them as Tilly and Thok carve up another, and Jack blasts the other 2 with his new wand. When the last zombie dies, the group look over the corpses and Kator salvages what arrows had not been broken. Finally, they head to the inn, use Tilly's note to pay for some rooms, find Gus very drunk and ranting.
Lorgar's gone. His blood god called him, and he went running like a trained dog.
Thok looks at the bruises on his arm, and touches the indentations where Lorgar's hammer hit his armor, then heads to sleep. Kator lies in his own bed and whispers to himself.
The line between good and evil is much more complicated than the line between predator and prey. A squirrel would never stab a wolf. Hawks do not fight each other over contracts. Perhaps animals are more civilized and peaceful than us. At least they only kill for food, or to protect themselves. Then again, maybe no one can be trusted.